Europe should get rid of GDPR. It's a joke. It really doesn't help anyone. You have to localize the data in each country individually. There's so much overhead. It's not worth it. The companies that get penalized by these privacy laws are the ones that you should be trying to help. Facebook and Google and all the large tech monopolies should be kissing the feet of the European regulators. They put all these laws into place, and it actually just helps the large tech monopolies. Now let's go to Europe and GDPR. It says we have a huge problem. The European tech regulator despairs over a lack of enforcement when it comes to GDPR. The world's toughest privacy law proves toothless in the eyes of many critics. And it goes on to lament that the biggest penalty they were able to impose was a 50 million euro fine from France on Google, which is still being challenged, by the way, and they're appealing it. So it's not final, but they assess the fee, and that's all they got. What this article fails to mention is that they actually got much larger fines on Marriott and British Airways. And we covered this when this happened. This penalty was in July of 2019. We covered this and we said, look, Marriott and British Airways, what they're doing with their customer data was GDPR drafted with Marriott and British Airways, as the definition of the evildoers, of people violating European people's privacy. And that we need to put all these rules into place because these evildoers, Marriott and British Airways, man, they just over encroach. They take advantage of their customer data so much. Absolutely not. There was no way that anyone was really even thinking of, you put GDPR and Marriott and British Airways together. No one was connecting those dots, but the law was passed. The regulators wanted to make some money and do what they do, which is fine people. And they went after Marriott and British Airways. It's a joke. It's a complete joke. The companies that get penalized by these privacy laws are the ones that you should be trying to help. These are the incumbent businesses. These are up and coming tech companies that are trying to compete with the large tech monopolies. Those two groups of companies, they get slaughtered by this, not to mention small businesses and, other just smaller startups. Basically, everyone but the large tech monopolies get hurt by this. That's why we've said that Facebook and Google and all the large tech monopolies should be kissing the feet of the European regulators because they're bozos. They put all these laws into place, and it actually just helps the large tech monopolies. Facebook and Google, as a result of GDPR, have a larger share of digital advertising revenue in Europe post GDPR going into effect. Why is that? Oh, because GDPR created all these rules and laws and penalties and fines about what you have to do with your data. And guess who has the best technology and the best protocols around data to comply with all these rules? Google and Facebook. So, thankfully the US did not adopt these GDPR rules. Otherwise, it would have been a disaster. Europe should get rid of GDPR. It's a joke. It really doesn't help anyone. You have to localize the data in each country individually. There's so much overhead. It's not worth it. And what are you trying to do? You go to a website and you got to click that stupid little disclosure every time. No one reads the disclosure, but you got to have the disclosure anyway. It's just annoying. It's not solving the problem. And you want to know what? Consumers don't really care about privacy. You want to know who cares about privacy? Politicians and the media. And the media cares about privacy because they hate Google and Facebook, and they think that this is a way to bring them down, because Google and Facebook have destroyed the media's entire business model. And the politicians, I don't know why the politicians are so hopped up on it, but they clamor to it. If you wanted to pay, like we've covered Wikipedia's new WT Social. It's a paid for social network, like $12 a month. It had a nice initial launch. I joined it. Like 2 months later, I had 5 friends on it. And so I canceled it. I'm not paying $12 a month. I got 5 friends on there. Why do I need to use this? It's expensive. And why are you going to pay for this when you have a free alternative? You're just not going to do it. And that was whole WT Social's whole thing is we're going to protect your privacy, but you're going to pay us $12 a month. It's not cheap to be in the social network. And you're kind of like, well, no, I don't want to do that. So look, when it comes to privacy, the regulators continue to miss the ball, and they try to create these like one size fits all laws, right? Where what they're not appreciating is that every platform business is very unique. Every large tech monopoly is its own animal. And you need, when you do look at regulation, you need company specific regulation. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Now, we've said you got to focus on the supply side rather than the privacy side. When it comes to antitrust, you're never going to win an antitrust case focusing on privacy. You need to look at the supply side. It strikes me as so ironic because everyone, it's such an uproar. Oh, Google and Facebook and, Marriott and British Airways, man, they're really horrible, invading our privacy. What about these governments? What about Russia? What about China? What about the United States and our agencies? You want to talk about privacy? You want to talk about snooping on what you're doing online and doing it? At least you're giving consent to a Google or these companies, right? You are at least voluntarily using their service, and you now understand that they're going to go and sell your data for ads. Okay. But when you have a government agency sucking down all of your data without your explicit permission, doing whatever they want with that data, that's not okay. So there's just so much irony amongst these politicians. The politicians love to create all this hullabaloo about tech companies taking advantage of your privacy. But what they don't want to do is say, what about government taking advantage of my privacy without me giving them any permission to do it, using it for whatever purposes that they want to do? We've seen countless examples of data being abused in this country and certainly elsewhere. And so you really want to talk about data privacy? That's where you should be focusing rather than trying to whack these guys with some fines that's never going to work. And then you just take out and you actually prevent competition. It completely backfires. Hi, this is Alex from Winner Take All. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to leave a comment, ask us questions, and definitely make sure to join us on our next live stream.